On the second floor was the professor. He was not a professor. He looked like a professor and sounded like a professor, and you know what? He even smelled like a professor. But he was not a professor. He was a writer. He used to be a journalist, and now he writes novels. He had one novel published by a local publishing house that specialized in Jewish historic fiction. And it actually sold quite a few copies, which meant he had time to work on his second book. This is what he has been doing for the past 11 years, working on the book, doing research. These are two codes that writers use. When you hear someone using them, when you ask someone what do they do in life and they tell you, I am working on my next book, or even worse, I am doing research for my next book, do not hesitate and please direct them to the nearest Alcoholic Anonymous meeting. Yes, most of the research was drinking cheap brandy, cheap wine, and cheap schnapps mixed with soda, and on special occasions when he was not too busy drinking, a little bit of reading. The room was full of books, books over books. This is what gave him the professor smell, I guess, the combination of old books and cheap brandy. He was a semi-religious man who prayed 3 times a day but did not believe God existed. He prayed out of habit and just in case, to be safe. He liked to pray drunk, well, not drunk, but a little tipsy. He said it takes the edge off and that it makes him more open to believe that someone is listening. Drunk people often talk to people who are not there, so talking to God was very acceptable when you had a few. He was, I don't know how to describe it exactly. You know how manic depressive people are always or very happy or very sad? Well, he was the same but with optimism and pessimism. Yes, he was always either the most optimistic person in the world or the most pessimistic one, usually in the range of a couple of hours or minutes. It was slightly confusing at first, not knowing if he was hoping for the best or preparing for the worst, or maybe it was hoping for the worst but preparing for the best, but you got used to it after a while, and he was in fact completely harmless, so it was okay. All in all, he was a nice fella and a good partner for long and meaningless conversations, especially if you liked obscure historic anecdotes and references of completely unimportant, forgotten political events.